Don't ever confuse independence with freedom. Independence is an opportunity to become free. It is not freedom. They were delivered from Egypt. They were independent from Egypt, but they still wasn't in the promised land. You are not yet in the New Guinea that God promised you yet. Because that Papua New Guinea requires a new kind of mentality. Because you came out of a history, just like I did, where we were formerly oppressed by colonial imperialism, which taught us some ideas that were not true about you. You were trained to be maids and yardmen and farmers and workers on plantations and serving tea, cooking for people. You were not trained to own a business and build a company and lead a country and buy your own oil field or invest in your own gold mine. It's always somebody else doing it, because you've been trained that you cannot and should not try to own an oil company. And so we accept the idea. So our philosophy says we cannot own that. So we have been trained to be an employee, not an employer. As a matter of fact, we've been so brainwashed by the wrong philosophy that we are afraid to own things. We are afraid of success. Even the religion, we were taught, reinforced our lack of self-belief. You know what you were taught for the last 100 years in religion. Your doctrine came from another country. Your belief system was imported by people who owned your forefathers. And they taught us songs to sing, didn't they? Songs like, I got a shoe, you got a shoe. All of God's people got a shoe. When I get to heaven, I'll put on my shoe. I'll walk all over God's heaven. Interesting song. So the enslaved, oppressed person sang that song. And they sang it to the master, the oppressor. They said to the master, I got a shoe and you got a shoe. Both of us are God's people. We got shoes. You wear yours now, I'll wear mine in heaven. That's a dumb song. But we sang that in churches and believed it, and even had the spirit on it. I got a shoe. That's a dumb song. What you're telling the master is, you prosper now, I'll stay poor now, I'll be rich later. Something's wrong with that philosophy. And so they make us afraid of prosperity. They say things like, you don't want to prosper, you might forget God. So stay poor and you'll stay humble before the Lord. Philosophy. As a man thinks, so he leads. So the pastor who comes out of that philosophy preaches to his people, stay away from politics, Stay away from money. Stay away from power. Stay away from influence. Just hang on until Jesus comes. And that is what we preach. We actually preach to our people that they should not be leaders. And they should not own. And they should not have influence. And that's why the Creator sent me to talk to my cousin. You are a ruler. You are a owner. You are an employer. You can run any business. But you got to change your belief system. So if you study all the colonies in history, including mine, where I'm from, the colonizers never trained leaders. And what's amazing is when they finally abandon and leave you, they expect you to fail. And that's why they leave. They always say, well, of course, there are more of you than us, so we're going to get out of here in case you kill us. But we know you can't lead anyhow, so your country will fail. So they expect you to fail. Well, you know, I don't understand that, because if you didn't train me, how can I succeed? And when you do fail, then they blame you and say, see, I told you, you ain't intelligent enough to succeed. They forget that my failure is proof of their failure. And that's why this leadership training series is important. I have come to correct 200 years of history. You are a leader. You can run this country. You can lead the world. Take a deep breath. Tell your neighbor, I was born to lead. Clap. I want to show you this before we go, because it's so important. All the world leaders, if you study them, they're all battling with these issues. And by the way, in one of my books, I did research on what happens to a people who have been oppressed for over 100 years. And I discovered that they all have the same problems. I used a case study of the children of Israel in Egypt. They were oppressed for 430 years. And when they finally came out of Egypt, they couldn't get Egypt out of them. And as soon as they got independence, or should I say deliverance from Egypt, under Moses was their leader, and even Moses had psychological problems. Remember, he was born in Egypt. But you'll remember that when they came out of Egypt, they didn't go into freedom. They was just delivered. Don't confuse deliverance with freedom. Papua New Guinea is not free yet. You are simply delivered. You are in the desert. And why does God take you to the desert? Because He doesn't want you to go into the promised land with Egypt in your mind. So He keeps you in the desert to try and change your mentality to think like a free person.
This video encourages all Papua New Guineans to revisit the prophetic message for PNG by Dr. Myles Munroe, especially at this crucial time as we approach our 50th independence anniversary. It is a call to reflect, to realign, and to rise with clarity and conviction toward the future we were destined for. Disclaimer: This video is shared for educational, inspirational, and historical purposes only. The views expressed in this message reflect the original speaker's prophetic insights and are intended to encourage national reflection, spiritual awakening, and mindset transformation for Papua New Guinea. All visual and audio content belongs to its respective owners and is used under fair use for commentary and public interest. No copyright infringement is intended. Viewers are encouraged to engage with this message respectfully and consider its relevance to PNG's journey toward purpose, prosperity, and prophetic destiny. This is a call to reflect and not a political statement.